A new rumor has just surfaced about a Nintendo Switch Mini and has been sparking quite a conversation within the community.
What are the pros and cons of such a console, and who stands to benefit from a Nintendo Switch Mini? My name is Brandon.
My name is Shane.
Together we're Brain Games,
and let's get into the video.
It's my
So a Japanese newspaper by the name of Nikkei, but they're a financial newspaper, so they have a lot of credibility behind them. They posted a financial report for Nintendo detailing their upcoming plans for 2019. Essentially, they stated a smaller, more portable Nintendo Switch will be coming in the fiscal year for 2019, which for everybody that doesn't know is from April of this year until March of 2020.
Yeah, and we're actually getting all this information from suppliers and game development companies who were informed of this by Nintendo themselves, so it's a pretty reputable source.
Yeah, and Nintendo hasn't stated anything themselves on this, but the plans for the Switch Mini are essentially to be easier to carry out, and the plan is to broaden the install base. But they also go on to say that it will lack certain features. Now that's the worrying part for me, because the Switch as it is such a comprehensive and good system. And when you start taking away features, it kind of loses the title of Switch.
Yeah, and what honestly worries me about this is if what we were talking about beforehand, where they're trying to narrow out and get rid of the DS market, that is something that's really worrying to me, just because the handheld market right now, Nintendo is just destroying at handheld based games, really. Like, they are at the top, straight up at the top. So if they're gonna do this, it's almost like they're cutting off their own leg, just because so many people love DS and they love all the games that come with it, that literally just making a Switch Mini and then getting rid of the whole DS community would be really troublesome, just because people love the DS for the fact of all the stylized games. We've grown up to love it. Literally, it's been out, the DS has been out since 2005, so everyone that's been playing on the DS and loving all those games and loving all of the stylized games that come from that are kind of getting shot in the foot here, just because they're going to lose out on everything that they already know and just be stuck with this Switch that does less.
Yeah, but if they were to drop the price point, imagine they take the Joy-Cons, they attach it to the console, they shrink it down a little bit, and they make it mobile only. That is a more... And they drop the price point. Say they dropped it to $200. That's a more attractive option to 3DS owners, because obviously Nintendo has stated that they want to make a 3DS successor, and they're slowing down releases for the 3DS. They're eventually going to stop making games for it. So imagine, as a 3DS owner, you see this new mobile-only Switch, $200 price point. That's pretty attractive, honestly. And if it has a decent library, if the Switch Mini is able to play all of the games that are already in the console's library, that's a huge library.
But would it be backwards compatible with the cartridges that are from the DS? And like,
I think they would, honestly, the dream Switch Mini would be backwards compatible with 3DS. That would be insane.
Yeah,
if it could play Switch and 3DS games, that would be unreal.
But I feel like that would be so unreal that we're asking for too much at that point, because then there would have to be two separate cartridge ports to honestly play any of the games. That's where I feel like when they say that they're going to lose things that make the Switch, I just don't see them adding something like that to make it backwards compatible. That's why I'm saying I feel like they really should not get rid of the DS. The Switch has one screen, as to where the DS, you get the dual screens. So the games wouldn't be able to be played the same.
That's true, definitely. They would have to change the design of the Switch. What I foresee is literally a smaller Switch with perhaps a different screen that's maybe more suitable for outside, because if you take your Switch outside now, you have to crank the brightness up pretty high to play outside.
That just destroys battery.
Exactly. So if they were to make perhaps a different screen, maybe with some reflective negating properties, more battery, like, that's the thing, is like, when they're making a Switch Mini, there's a lot of changes they would have to make.
Well, and also if they do make the controllers connected to the device itself, then the controllers are going to be running off the same battery as the Switch itself. So that's what also worries me is if they do have the controllers connected, then that's just one more thing to worry about, and that's obviously not going to be going towards like screen brightness, obviously, you know.
And it takes away a lot of what the Switch is every Switch sold in the box now is immediately 2-player friendly.
Yep.
You can take the Joy-Cons off and play with anybody you want to.
Exactly.
As a portable Switch, if the Joy-Cons are fixed, that goes away. You can't now buy a Switch, say it's the Mini. You can't buy that Mini if the Joy-Cons are fixed and play with your friend.
What would be amazing is if they do make it so that the controllers are connected to the device, if you were able to pick up just your run-of-the-mill Switch controller and have that be compatible with the Switch Mini, so that somebody who also owned a Switch or just like you had an extra controller lying around, you could pick that up and play it as well with the Switch Mini.
True. I think that's the way they need to go, is it needs to integrate with the current Switch as much as possible.
Yeah.
Besides docking to the TV. If that's the only thing that's missing, and you can get your Switch Mini, if it even has a little kickstand, you can prop it up, you can grab your Joy-Cons from your original Switch, hook it up, that's appealing. A Pro Controller, like it would need to have all of these features. What I think this Switch Mini would be geared towards is people that do not have a Switch and think the $300 price point is too much.
True. But also, if you're able, like, let's say the Switch Mini doesn't even come with a dock, you know? Like, it just comes with the cord and you can hook it up to your TV still. At least then, you could still play all these great games that have amazing graphics, like Breath of the Wild. You could still get that on a bigger screen, but then you could take it to go. Because I feel like with a smaller device, you're obviously going to have a smaller screen, and then are you going to lose out on some of the amazing graphics that came with the Switch itself?
Exactly. Like, if they're going to make it any smaller, I think the way the screen is now, you play a console game such as Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Let's Go. You play those games, the size of the screen for the Switch now is perfect.
Yeah.
You don't lose much. It's definitely a smaller screen, but you're playing it portable. It's in your hands. It's a good experience. It's comparable to, you play it in your hands is what you would expect. If they make it any smaller, like what you're saying, that might lose a little appeal.
And with that, again, going back to the controllers being connected, you're going to lose out on some controls. Like, let's say you want to go play ARMS. You're not going to be able to use the motion controllers to do like punches and stuff or protecting yourself. You're going to lose out on all of that. So you're basically gonna get geared towards mobile, or not mobile games. You're basically gonna get geared towards handheld, whether you like it or not. So again, this is just really worrying to me that they're gonna do away with the whole DS and just try to like slim it down to a Switch Mini, which I really don't think they should do, honestly.
No, they have to make a choice here, because like you said with ARMS, also Mario Party, Super Mario Party, one of the highest selling games of the quarter. You cannot play that game undocked.
Yeah.
So that's weird to me that they would sell this console, say it's a Mini, that cannot be docked, and you're gonna say, oh, you just can't play Mario Party on this game, like on this console. That's bizarre. Like, you can't take a certain handful of games from your lineup and just say, oh, you can't play them on this console.
Yeah, so I really hope that the Switch Mini, you will be able to have the controllers that you can unconnect from the device itself. But that in turn lies another problem of how small is too small for a controller.
Because the Joy-Cons as they are now, I feel like you need to attach the grip, where you tie it around your hand, like, and then it feels like a substantial controller.
Yeah.
But even then, it's fairly small. I enjoy playing my Switch undocked, and I wouldn't mind playing a portable only Switch. For instance, if they kept the exact same size and attached the Joy-Cons, I might be interested in that. Because I think the Switch as it is a really solid size. But like you said, if you make it much smaller, and then you're talking about detaching little tiny Joy-Cons.
It's gonna be crazy.
You know, ultimately, this is a smart choice for Nintendo because there are going to be people, families that, you know, if the Switch is $200 and it's portable only, you think of families that their kids already have DSs, they're going to be more likely to drop $200 on this for their kids, for their birthdays, for Christmas, more so than a $300 price point. Like $100 is a lot.
But again, would you pay more if you knew that you would get the full lineup and the whole library of games for a Switch, plus you won't have to deal with stuff like unconnecting controllers and all of that? Like, I feel like $100 difference, if you are really looking forward to like getting some console like the Switch, I feel like $100 difference just wouldn't really do it for me. Like, I would just save up a little bit longer to actually go out and get the full experience rather than to get a half experience. You know what I'm saying?
But what you're saying also kind of might make the original Switch more appealing. Because imagine if you see there's two Switches, you see one is $200, for instance, and it's mobile only, the controllers are attached, but then you see for only $100 more, you get the detachable controllers, the full library. But that might boost sales alone, because like you're saying, somebody might say, oh, it's only $100 more.
But that's also where I'm saying, like, Nintendo's shooting itself in the foot right here, because already Xbox and PlayStation, yeah, you have like the PlayStation Vita, or is it Vita? So yeah, you have the PlayStation Vita, which great. That was awesome to have. If you love PlayStation, you probably already have a PlayStation Vita. As to where if you have a Switch, it's already mobile. Like, you can already take it on the go. You have like things like car adapters and stuff like that, so you can charge it on the go. I just don't see the appeal really for having a console that's handheld as well, smaller, can do less stuff, can play less games. If the controllers are connected, you're losing out on a whole appeal of what makes the Switch a Switch. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It feels like Nintendo is going to be like fighting themselves in the ring rather than actually going after another competitor, because they already have the market cornered.
True. I think ultimately we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to see what the features are of this new Switch, what games are going to be playable on it, if they're even going to have to cut any games out. Best case scenario, it can play all the same games. The controller issue isn't even an issue, and it reaches a new market. I think that's what they're trying to go with this. I think they're trying to get the people that don't currently have a Switch due to the price point, and people that would be interested in maybe a mobile-only experience, who say, they look at the Switch already and they're like, I don't really care too much about that, but I love my 3DS. So, oh, there's a new mobile-only console that's essentially the next DS?
Again, though, if it doesn't run DS games, then I just don't understand the value of that.
But those people that have the 3DS aren't going to mind, because they already have their library. So that's just essentially the next step for them. Because imagine those people that have a 3DS, haven't jumped on the Switch yet. They're going to be perhaps more willing to buy it if they say, I'm not interested in the docked part. I don't care about playing Breath of the Wild on TV. Oh, but it's only mobile and it's $100 less? I think that's where they're going to get people. Is the people that are interested in the Switch but have no interest of linking up to the TV.
Yeah, but it's not just about linking up to the TV, because as I stated before, like with the connected controllers, you're like losing out on a multitude of games. You're losing out on so many games that literally brings an appeal towards the Switch. And if you don't want to play it on a TV, totally fine. You can still pick up the Switch off of the dock and sit there and play it, and it has a huge, nice, big screen that you can see everything on. If you don't want to be playing out literally on a connected Switch, then you can sit back, unclip the controllers, and play it that way. So I just feel like the Switch is already such a comfortable experience to play on that limiting themselves. It's almost like they're taking a step back in time. Like it feels like you're going back to the Wii U, almost like you're going back to that like ported system.
I think ultimately it's gonna sell.
It's gonna sell. It's definitely gonna sell, but it's like I said before. The DS literally runs the entire handheld market right now. Let's be honest. Like DS is places 1, 2, and 3. The PlayStation Vita comes in at like 4. Every time when I think about mobile gaming, yeah, I'm thinking about the DS. So I just don't understand why they would corner themselves like that and maybe even push out some of their DS users to try to bring them into like half of a Switch experience, you know, because you're losing a lot of the capabilities that comes with the original Switch. So I just don't understand where that demographic lies, you know.
Ultimately, time will tell, and we will see. I'm hopeful. I think it'll be a good thing. I'm really impressed with how Nintendo's handled the whole Switch experience in general.
It's been amazing.
And 3DS. Honestly, the 3DS has had one of the most amazing runs. Like, how long the 3DS has been going. They might just say, the 3DS is the 3DS, and we appreciate everything that it's done. Let's move on. So maybe even just leave it in the past. Which...
that to me is crazy.
But the 3DS is still going to sell.
Yeah.
Especially as like a at this point, if they make this the new mobile, that's going to be the last gen mobile. But it's still going to sell. The 3DS has one of the best libraries too. There's so many incredible games on there. All the Pokemon on there.
Monster Hunter.
You have all these console or mobile experiences. But now even Monster Hunter was ported to Switch. We'll see what happens from this eventually. I get what you're saying with, you know, it could be a little counterintuitive for sure.
I am hopeful, but I guess I just need to see where they're trying to go with it. Because if they're trying to wipe themselves off the map from the DS in general, that's very peculiar to me. But again, I'm not the head of Nintendo, so he might have a totally different vision that he's looking towards. And I as of right now, I just don't see it.
Yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts on a Nintendo Switch Mini? Do you think one's on the way? And if it is, do you plan to pick one up?
And if you are, definitely leave us a comment down below on some features you'd like to see it have. And if you'd just like to keep up to date with anything Nintendo Switch related or just gaming related in general, hit the subscribe button, ding that notification bell, and we'll catch you next time on Brain Games.